Well, welcome everyone, and this is my life drawing, the Redux. I won't be talking about the stuff I did my last one, because I would like to talk about my high school stuff. Anyways, I was born August 17th, 1997, in Chinatown. I was 10 pounds or 8 pounds, but that's being disputed. My family, my entire family were born from China, Guangzhou, China to be exact. And they moved here in 1996, so which makes me the only US born person in my family. For elementary school, I went to E.R. Taylor Elementary School, and first years there was not good. I was bullied immediately the first time I was there. It wasn't really raining though. For middle school, I went to Kip Bayview Academy. It wasn't much of a difference. Again, I was constantly being bullied for just being me, basically. For reasons unknown to science, I was hated a lot. For example, when I would actually bump into someone, they'll just get mad and yell at me and tell me to not touch them. Well, when I see the same thing happens to other people, they're like, "Oh, it's okay," blah 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 blah. At the same time, I recently joined Rock Salt program, and it still wasn't good for me. My first year, I was bullied by this one person. Certain people know who he is, and for some reason, he just hated me. And at the time, I was too afraid to tell Erica. She was the middle school coordinator at the time. Loda wasn't here yet, and I didn't tell them until high school. Around the time when my first year was finally ending, the guy who bullied me finally left, and I found myself in my first year of summer escape, which was a change because it wasn't the usual Salt people. I met a lot of new people. And now we're gonna go into my high school years, and currently I go to Lowell High School. And it's probably going to be a partially sad year because I am going to be a senior, and it's going to be my last year, and I'm not ready for college yet. My first year in high school was a big change, coming from a small school and leaving some of my friends because they didn't want to go to Lowell. It was, like I said, a big change because I see there's people already in those small groups, and I'm just by myself, not knowing what to do. Some good things has come out of it though. My schedule for my last class was theater tech, and I thought, that sounds fun. And I've been doing it ever since, and freshman year, I never thought I would be here right now, learning all this stuff. One of the first things I believe I learned first from the basics was knowing how to use a light board. It's very difficult at first because all these knobs and switches were very confusing. I didn't know what to do, but I figured out what channel involved which lights, and I knew which lights plugged into which channel eventually. Throughout most of the concerts I've done, that's where I learned how to use all the other systems. For example, the soundboard. The most fun I had was with the fly system, knowing how the pulley system were bringing in and out a curtain. For every single beginner, everyone had to know how to build something with the proper power tools, with the proper safety protocols. During major productions like my first ever fall play, being only a freshman, I was only put into run crew duties, which basically whenever each scene, I had to push something out onto the stage on the right spot every single time. However, when second semester came along for Cinderella, that was my first time I actually decided to do something. So basically, I would say a specialty. For example, it was my first time working on props, and ever since that, I've been picking up on props ever since, for the past 2 years at Lowell. In the end, after a year experience, I finally felt like I was part of something, part of a group of people that I could eventually call a second family, which was Lowell Technical Theater. Sophomore year finally rolled by, and I had higher hopes, but I would say it's my low point because I was dealing with some problems. But I still had the fall play and the spring musical, and those things at least kept me going. For the fall play, it was interesting because it was the first time I've done the stationary set, and everyone basically had to collaborate on props because that was the only thing that was required. In this show, by far the best set I think we've ever built. I don't think we ever built anything better than that. Well, along with the heartbreak, things went a bit of a turn down because Aloni was coming up, but for some reason I didn't make the team. She said I wasn't really good enough, blatantly said that to me. What Aloni is a statewide competition for actors and techies with their respective schools, and they compete for which school has the best actors or techies. With that being said, not being on the team just made me feel even more sad than I already was. Not fun. So during the start of the junior year, I told myself I was determined to show my tech teacher that I was capable of being in the team and going to Aloni. I was very determined. And I think I got that chance for the fall play, which we did Macbeth or Backers. And here am I doing a poor drawing of it, so I'll show you what it looks like with a picture. There it goes. I had a chance to show my teacher when I was probably given one of the biggest projects for the entire production, because I had to make 12 swords for the respective characters. And 2 weeks of making a prototype, and it took probably about a month or 3 weeks to make all of them. And here's the picture of it. And so, when I finally got on display, people were like, "What? High school student did that?" And they couldn't believe it. So apparently, they were so realistic that people were just awed by it. And to me, I didn't think that. I was surprised, and for me, I felt like I was in the spotlight. And when second semester came, I felt like I had more responsibility to do it, because I was finally managing props for myself on stage right with a couple of beginners. And it was also a big change for me, because since I was so used to being told what props to grab, what props to put on the table, this year I had to kind of do it by myself and grab the props I needed for myself on my side. Well, luckily it wasn't very that difficult, because I had 3 beginners to help me, and I basically kind of told them what stuff to grab instead of me doing it, because I did more of the harder stuff, reading through the script. A week later, it was finally Aloni week, and 2 months before that, my teacher was announcing who was going to be a part of the team, and when I heard my name announced, I was so ecstatic. I couldn't wait for the day to come. And during those 2 weeks, we were practicing constantly. For the most part, we were focusing on the relay, but the only other thing we did was our painting. All the other events we didn't focus on. So the day finally came, I was so nervous getting on the bus, but everyone was having a good time. Like, for example, my friend managed to get like a freaking car battery, reroute the wires and stuff, and managed to make it so we can plug in a giant speaker in the bus, blasting music while we're getting there. Here's the picture. So for our first day, our first event was the Screaming Mimi Circuit Sound Society. With a theme of steampunk, we had to choose a song from a musical soundtrack and modify it. Our second event was the Paintalicious, which was paint something that involved steampunk. We weren't giving a musical because they found it very difficult. However, we felt like we didn't do so well, so we were sad. So for the next day, we were determined, because we had our strengths coming up. We had people with good with props, lighting, and build a model. So our first event was to build a model, and that was just we were given a musical, and we had to build a set out of it. Next thing was the prop making thing, which was a gun, steampunk obviously. The next thing was build a set, and we're giving a bunch of set pieces, and we'll design a set given a certain musical. The next thing was the light palette do, which is designing a light, what a setting would look like for a specific scene. And the last thing was the relay. Fortunately, we would have done better if we went first, so we got a time of 4-something minutes. And so, during the end of the day, all the schools were sitting on the bleachers, and I was so nervous. People were dancing though. So I was sitting there hoping we would make it to the podium on some event, just at least one. So when they called our names for Build a Model, I was so excited, and we won second place. we would have gone first if it weren't for my safety. Anyways, one surprise was we won the sound competition, and we thought we did horrible in it. We got third place though. So with all Lowell Tech teams making it to the podium into 2 out of the 7 events, at least, we knew we had a chance to win the Technical Sweepstakes Awards, which was the overall best tech for the school. And after a 9-year drought, we finally brought the award back to Lowell High School. Hooray. So, on to next year, I'm going to be a senior. I will never be that fat. I still don't know what the Fall Point or Spring Musical is. I know I'll be at Olympia for next year, and I know I'll be driving. And I can finally commit more time for technical theater. Instead of having to leave at 3:30, I can leave at 5 for driving. And on to my future. I finally know what I want to major in, technical theater. I believe UCs are out of my list. Cal State's probably the only ones. SFU is not that bad. My teacher graduated from there. And thank you for watching my Life Drawn Redux, maybe a trilogy when I come back.